So after recording this video, even more information came out to support this absolutely crazy leak. So watch the regular video as it all still works, and then at the end of the video, I'll get into the stuff about the female Doctor Doom variant story and how that actually explains more of who RDJ's Doctor Doom is. So I think Doctor Doom is lying to everybody in Avengers Doomsday, which I guess is not that surprising. It is a very Doctor Doom thing to do. However, if what I think is going on in this film, then what Marvel is actually doing with Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom will go down as the darkest thing they have ever done. Oh my God! And in order to explain what I'm talking about, I have to talk about some of the new plot leaks. You probably know the ones. They're out there. A lot of people are discussing them. But then we need to discuss other things that have been said about this film in the past and how when you put this whole picture together, it really does seem like Doctor Doom and his origin involving Franklin Richards could actually be way darker than what Marvel is leading on. No, God! What am I talking about? I'm talking about the Franklin Richards rumor, which if you don't know, the TLDR is that it appears the Robert Downey Jr. version of Doctor Doom is actually from a universe where he was married to Sue Storm and he had a child that was Franklin Richards. And according to the leaks, basically what happens is his universe is destroyed by an incursion. He loses his wife, he loses his child Franklin, but that is why he ends up in 828 at the end of the Fantastic Four movie, and that's why he takes off his mask and is touching Franklin Richards, because that is a variant of the child that he lost. Now, the first thing that's going to help make all of this make sense is that I strongly feel as though Franklin Richards is the replacement for the Molecule Man from Marvel Comics. Now, the TLDR on that is that Molecule Man is a being that is sliced infinite times and put into all realities out there without losing any of his substance. Like, essentially, within the multiverse, there are variants of every character. There are variants of Doctor Doom, variants of Iron Man, variants of Thor, variants of Doctor Strange, variants of everybody. And in most cases, those variants are different. Sometimes they'll look different, sometimes they'll look the same, but act different. However, the Molecule Man is not like that. He is the exact same person in every single reality. And that is because he is not like other people. And in fact, it is revealed in the Jonathan Hickman Time Runs Out event that leads into the 2015 Secret Wars that the Molecule Man is essentially just a bomb. He is something that was created by the Beyonders, who are basically, for all intents and purposes, the gods of the cosmos. Like, just think beyond everything, Beyonders, like they're outside of time, space, beyond all of that, the Beyonders. So it's revealed in the comics that the Beyonders essentially create the universe as like an experiment. It's like a terrarium to them. They're just having fun with it, but they did put the Molecule Man into every single reality so that if they needed to, they could snap their fingers and destroy all of reality all at once. That's what the Molecule Man is. So he's a big old bomb, but he is also this being of basically infinite power. Like, he is really important to the end of the Time Runs Out event and in the Secret Wars event, because God Emperor Doom is using the Molecule Man as a receptacle for all of the Beyonder energy. And this kind of makes sense because we know that the Molecule Man was indeed created by the Beyonders, and so he is able to hold their power. Now, when it comes to the Molecule Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, people have been speculating and theorizing on who this character could be. Again, this was like a big thing that people were talking about even a year ago. A lot of people thought maybe it was Wanda. Some people thought it could be Stephen Strange, because like Stephen Strange seems to be the same in all the different realities. At least he looks the same. And that also appears to be the case with Wanda, and Wanda's really freaking powerful as well. So it could be the case that Wanda was the replacement for the Molecule Man. But given everything we've heard about Franklin Richards over the past year, and it's just little things here and there, like Alex Perez referred to him as the living MacGuffin. I've had sources tell me that Franklin is going to be the way by which those characters travel between universes. They're going to tap into the power cosmic in order to get him to do that. And I think it's just obvious that Doom is going to use the power of Franklin in order to take all of the destroyed worlds at the end of Doomsday and smash them all together to create Battle World. Like, that's what appears to be happening. And I also think most people believe that Franklin Richards will reestablish the multiverse using that power cosmic godlike abilities. This is just like what happened in the comic book version. After God Emperor Doom is defeated, Reed Richards and Franklin put all the Owen Reeses back into the universes. They literally create universes using Franklin's powers and the powers of the Beyonder, and then they repopulate the multiverse. So all that stuff is like out there. Like people believe that that is real. But now I need to kind of flip the script. We need to talk about Avengers Forever, not the one from the 90s that involved Kang, although that is really cool. But I want to focus on the Avengers Forever with the Council of Mephistos, with the multiversal Masters of Evil, and with probably most importantly, Avenger Prime Loki. Now, this was a really crazy story that involved several different books. A lot of this stuff was written by Jason Aaron. Some people didn't love it. I actually thought it was pretty dope. It involves a variant of Tony Stark that's actually Ant-Man in a universe, which is interesting. It is eventually revealed that there's this god quarry at the end of time that Avenger Prime Loki establishes an Avengers Tower at, and then he goes throughout the time stream to recruit armies of variants of the Marvel heroes. Now, this was something that was on people's radar around the time of Loki season 1, but especially Loki season 2, because it did feel as though Loki was going to become the Avenger Prime version of Loki. And even in that show, you can see a lot of the same ideas that were in that comic book story. Essentially, Loki is sort of a loser. He's there to lose, to help the heroes become their greatest self. This is something that's echoed in the comic. It's echoed in the show. But the natural extension of that at the end of time is Loki realizing that nobody knows the Avengers better than him, and he can actually be the one to properly assemble the greatest group of Avengers ever seen throughout the history of time. Oh my god, it was so freaking dope, and it matches up with stuff we've heard about Avengers Doomsday. First of all, the Majestic account, who I think actually does have accurate information, has said that at the end of Avengers Doomsday, there will be this big battle on the Void where Doctor Doom and a bunch of Doom bots and potentially Doom variants, which is another story that's out there right now. I've done videos on it, and we'll talk about it in other videos, but that could connect here. Essentially, Doom bots, maybe Doom variants, they're all on the Void fighting against multiversal Avengers. This is supposed to be Tobey Maguire, Loki, Iron Man. There's supposed to be a superior Iron Man variant. And according to the reports, Thor and Captain America, like our Steve Rogers, are actually going to be out there in the multiverse recruiting up variants of themselves. So you might see like a ton of Thor variants. You might see a ton of Captain America variants, and they're all going to meet up and fight Doom at the end of the film. And so to me, when I heard all of that, I was like, oh wow, they really are doing that Avengers Forever thing. That's really interesting. That connects to Loki. It's going to connect to the end of the Doomsday film. However, it's this idea of variants of Doctor Doom himself that has really started to get me to feel that we're going to see the attributes of the Doctor Doom from that Avengers Forever run. And here's where things are going to get really crazy, and I think you're going to start to see where I'm going with this theory and why it is so fucking dark. Oh my god. So in this story, we're introduced to the most powerful and the most evil variant of Doctor Doom ever put in Marvel Comics. This is a version of Doctor Doom that sacrificed the love of his life, Valyria, by ripping off her flesh from her living body, and then he fuses it with his armor to give him ultimate power. And this is also a Doctor Doom that goes around hunting other Doom variants and forcing them to cut out their own tongues and be subservient to him. Yeah, dude, that's some pretty crazy, twisted, dark shit, but walk with me on this. What do we know about this version of Doctor Doom? Well, right now we know that he apparently came from a reality where he was married to Sue Storm and he had a child as Franklin Richards. His universe is destroyed, but he then pops up in the Fantastic Four universe, and it is assumed that he will then work with Reed Richards and Sue Storm, or maybe he just takes Franklin at that moment and bails, and then the Fantastic Four are going after him. But either way, I've been told that Doom's going to manipulate the Fantastic Four into helping him, so I would assume that he's going to tell them about how he was married to Sue Storm and he had a son, Franklin. That's going to cause them to kind of accept him, maybe, and then that is how he's going to get them to help him. I've also been told that Doctor Doom is going to show up in the 616 universe and show the heroes of the Marvel universe in 616 that he is a variant of Tony Stark. Like, he's going to tell them that he is Tony Stark in order to win their help. And then at that point, I believe it's when those two, like the Fantastic Four and the Avengers, will then go into the X-Men universe to try to fight against the X-Men. And I've been told that what he's going to say to everybody is that Steve Rogers has to die for the multiverse to survive. That essentially Doom has the power to go to where Steve Rogers was when he went back to live with Peggy Carter, and maybe using Franklin Richards and his godlike power cosmic abilities, Doom would literally be able to stop time actually causally stop time and save the multiverse. But we kind of already know that doesn't happen, and I am very skeptic of this even being possible. In fact, I think what's really going on is Doom manipulating everybody to weaken all those that might stand against him at the end of time, and I believe he's trying to get to Steve Rogers for a very specific reason, not because he actually can stop the collapse of the multiverse, but maybe just revenge, or maybe he knows that Steve would be the one to actually possibly be able to stand up against him. And I've also been told that Doctor Doom is manipulating everybody in this movie, that he's a master manipulator and he's going to be lying to everyone. Okay, but if we put all of that together and we start to really think about what could actually be going on with Doctor Doom, I think this, again, might be super dark. I think it's potentially connected to that Avengers Forever evil version of Doctor Doom, the guy that sacrificed his love in order to get that power. What I'm saying is, I think Doctor Doom might tell the Fantastic Four that he's from a universe where he lost his son and he lost his wife. But in reality, his universe was probably being destroyed, and then he absorbed the power of his son, potentially even the power of his wife as well, but definitely the power of his son, Franklin, in order to gain the power cosmic and in order to gain the ability to try to stop the collapse of the multiverse and recreate reality the way he saw fit. Just like Thanos, I think Doctor Doom is going to sacrifice the thing that he loves the most in order to gain ultimate power. Except in this case, with Doctor Doom, he's going to do that and then go try to get a variant of his son so that he can have his cake and eat it too. Right now, it is seeming like at the end of the film, the Fantastic Four universe, the X-Men universe, and 616 will all collide and be destroyed. And while that is happening, Doctor Doom will be on the Void trying to get to where Loki is to get ultimate power. And I believe once Doctor Doom gets to where Loki is at and has ultimate power, he will take those 3 destroyed worlds, smash them all together, and create Battleworld. What that suggests is the variant of Sue and the variant of Franklin that will be the wife and the son of Victor on Secret Wars in the Battleworld part of this story. That will not be his Sue. That will not be his Franklin. And so this really does feel like it mirrors a lot of what happened in the comics. But again, take a step back and realize that they might be setting up a version of Doctor Doom that will be revealed to be so evil, so twisted, so power hungry, so hell-bent on dominating the multiverse that he literally sacrificed his own son to get power. And there's even more to get into. As I alluded to at the start of this video, after I recorded the portion of the video that you just watched, even more stuff came out that has me convinced that this is what is going on. So one of the things that came out yesterday was a leak from the Majestic account, which if you haven't been paying attention to, Majestic seems to have a lot of accurate information that also was apparently in that Discord where all the scoopers hang out. So in this scoop from Mystic, he's talking about Clea and Doctor Strange. The leak describes Clea as initially an ally of Doctor Strange that supports the heroes, but she secretly supports Doctor Doom. She believes that Doom can restore multiversal order, and she doesn't think the heroes are capable of that. However, it says throughout the story she begins to doubt herself as she witnesses Doom's true plans. Now, that's kind of crazy, implying that Doctor Doom is even hiding his true plans from people like Clea that are secretly serving him. But now I want to talk about the female Doctor Doom story. If you didn't see this blow up this week, this all happened because Daniel RPK over the weekend talked about how the Doomsday film would have a lot of variants of Doctor Doom. And in fact, Daniel went on to say there would be female variants of Doctor Doom, which of course is a thing. People got upset about it, including myself. And around the time that Daniel was reporting this, there were people like Gary Nerderotic who were coming out to say this wasn't true at all. A lot of people trying to get to the bottom of this. Well, I had a source that reached out to me and said in no uncertain terms that this was real and that there would be female variants of Doctor Doom. My source described to me 3 different female variants, all wearing golden masks. The source said one of these female variants would be dressed in purple, one would be dressed in green, and one would be dressed in gold. Now, the source also describes other variants within this scene, including a variant of Doctor Doom that has horns. Now, when I heard all that, I did speak on it, but I couldn't quite place where I had seen something like that in Marvel Comics. And that was literally until I was going over the get it for this very video, the video that you've been watching, because my source put in an image of the Dark Phoenix, who during the Avengers Forever run, the whole run with the evil Doctor Doom that we've been talking about, there was a figure in a golden mask wearing purple by his side the entire time. And that character was a Dark Phoenix. Essentially, the multiversal masters of evil were going around the multiverse, grabbing up the most powerful and evil variants of heroes and villains. And that's what Doom wanted to do. He wanted the most powerful villains on his side. But that's actually not all either, because after I saw this and I went in and was researching again, I reread Avengers Forever issue number 5, The Doom Above All Dooms, which, by the way, I highly recommend everybody goes to check out. It's awesome. It describes this very evil version of Doctor Doom. But within the beginning part of that story, there's a Doom variant that goes to escape the grasp of the Doom Above All Dooms. And that variant goes to kill some Doom bots that are in that room with him, only to realize that they are not Doom bots. It's revealed that the Doom Above All has been going around the multiverse, grabbing up variants of himself, forcing them to go mad and cut out their own tongues, and then they serve Doom as though they are Doom bots. Now, on top of just being absolutely incredibly dark, awesome, and super cool, that is actually an explanation for why we have some reports out there saying that Doom and a bunch of Doom bots are going to be fighting at the end of this film. And then you have Daniel coming out to say that these are possibly variants, including the female variants. And Majestic has talked about this incredible fight at the end of the movie that's going to be on the Void. It's Doom and all these Doom bots, which now I think might actually be Doom variants that he made into his subservience. And Majestic has talked about these multiversal Avengers are going to fight against that variant of Doctor Doom and all the different Dooms. And I think at that point we might see like the full scope of Doctor Doom's acquired power. Maybe these 3 female variants are all Dark Phoenixes. Like maybe Doom has Dark Phoenixes from throughout the multiverse that are serving him. And I also love what that says about Tony Stark and his refusal to sacrifice his loved ones. This is actually really cool, but again, it would be really, really dark. Anyway, I'm kind of starting to believe that this is what Marvel's actually cooking. Would love to know your thoughts about this in the comment section below. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.